Right guys, so the 2023 Premier League of Darts lineup has been announced, and there are quite a few players that have missed out this year that I'm a little bit surprised by. So I'm going to go through those players, have a look at their stats and what they've accomplished in the past year or so, and then if you guys have any opinions, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. That would be amazing. Anyway, let's get into this video. So let's go over the people who have made it into the Premier League 2023. Those players, of course, are the top 4 players in the world, which get in every single year. Those are Michael Smith, Peter Wright, Michael Van Gerwen, and Gerwin Price. Those are the 4 that are guaranteed every single year. It doesn't matter. There's no opinions. There's no stats. There's nothing. Those are the players. After that, the picks are decided between Sky and the PDC, or however they do it anymore. I don't even know how they do it anymore, but it's hand-picked. And the 4 hand-picked players for this year's Premier League were Johnny Clayton, Nathan Aspinall, Dimitri Van den Bergh, and Chris Dobey. A little bit of a surprise with Chris Dobey, but he did just win the Masters, and that's kind of been like a free in to the Premier League in the last couple of years. So well done to Chris. I'm glad he's in. I'm looking forward to seeing him get on. But let's go through some players who didn't make the Premier League this year, and let's have a look at some of their statistics and achievements over the past year. So just briefly, there's a few things that people have to take into consideration when they're picking the Premier League lineup, and that is, number 1, that they're a good dart player, and they kind of deserve it as well. You can't be sitting 35th in the rankings and get a Premier League call-up. It's just not going to happen. Number 2, you need to be marketable, and the PDC needs to be able to make some money off your name. That's important. You can't be boring. You can't be just kind of like throwing your darts, doing your little walk-ons, and not really doing much other than just play darts. It's a show at the end of the day, and a lot of people seem to struggle to remember that, but yeah, that is kind of part of the deal. And number 3, there's a lot of crowds who are going to need to support you, so they need to pick players who have a good backing and who will be supported well by the crowd and can potentially help out to fill arenas, because that's what this is at the end of the day. It's a big exhibition, and you need to be able to sell tickets or else the show doesn't work. So the first player, Dirk van Dijvenbode. He is world number 13, which isn't too bad. It's pretty up there. I feel like next year he'll be in with a good chance of getting a Premier League push. But over the course of the last year, let me get my notebook out because I wrote all this down in my Unicorn notebook, by the way. Thank you, Unicorn, for this notebook. It's come in seriously handy. Dirk. He is a European Championship semi-finalist. He's a World Series finalist. He also made the semi-finals of the World Cup this year. He's won 1 Players' Championships event. And over the course of the past year, according to Darts Oracle, this is where we get the information from, he averaged over 2022 96.98 over the whole year. That's quite a lot. That's a big average. That's not too bad. There's a lot of players in the Premier League this year who have definitely not done that. So well done to Dirk for that achievement, I guess. But he's not in the Premier League. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Should he be in? Next, Joe Cullen. Joseph Cullen. I don't know if that's his real name. It probably is. It would make sense. Joe Cullen. Over the course of the last year, he won the World Masters, which, to be fair, you can't really add that into this year when it comes to this, because the World Masters is kind of like the free entry into the Premier League, and he got in the Premier League last year at the back of it, so it's a bit harsh to sort of bring that in there. But he did win the World Masters in 2022, and that's what we're talking about. He was also the Premier League runner-up from last year as well, so he got into the Premier League off the back of the Masters, then got runner-up in the Premier League, and he's not in this year. Also, he did win a European Tour event, and he won 2 Players' Championships event, and over the course of the past year, he has averaged 94.5, which is decent. 94.5, take that, not bad. Next player. Next up, we have first-time major winner Ross Smith. He recently actually just signed a Unicorn, so yeah, Unicorn notepad is coming into... I've spilt something on it there. Brilliant. Fantastic. Ross Smith, he was the winner of the European Championships this year, which was a big deal for Ross because he's done really well. He's had a pretty good year. It's definitely by far his best year he's ever had. He was also in the last 16. He got the last 16 in the Grand Slam and the Grand Prix, and he also is a really, really, really big 180 hitter, which... that's what you want. If you want to put someone in front of a crowd full of people and you want them all to go mental and hold up their 180 signs, pick someone who hits a lot of 180s. Ross Smith is a good choice for that, but he didn't make it in the Premier League. He did, though, have an average of 94.25 over the course of the year, which is decent. But no Ross Smith in the Premier League this year. Next up, we have Robert Cross, or Bobby Cross. He was the finalist of the Players' Champs, the televised Players' Champs this year, and he also won 2 Players' Championships events, and he also, as far as crowds go, people like Rob Cross. He's a pretty likable guy, and he also done that thing on the YouTube channel where he was like shouting Bobby, 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 Cross, Cross, Cross. And a lot of people seem to like that. So he's a bit of a crowd favourite. People do like Rob Cross. And over the course of 2022, he averaged 96.69 over the whole year. That's good darts. That's pretty good darts. And can I just mention, he's currently the world number 6. That's high up there. That's high up in the rankings. Didn't make the Premier League. Next up, we have Danny Noppert. A few people wanted Danny Noppert to get in, me included. He had a very, very good 2022. And Danny Noppert, let's go through his accolades of 2022. He was a semi-finalist of the match play. He also won the UK Open, and he was a World Cup semi-finalist, and he won a Players' Championships event as well, which is pretty good. As far as rankings goes, Danny Noppert is currently the world number 8, but on the year-to-date tour, on the year-to-date race, if anyone ever looks at that on dartsrankings.com, he is number 5. So over the course of the past year, he is 5th highest in rankings as far as that all goes. So yeah, I think he probably should have been in, but I think the thing that's letting him back a little bit is he's not as exciting as a few of the other players that are already in the Premier League, or we've already spoken about today. He just doesn't have that kind of like wow factor about him. He doesn't bang in loads of 180s. He does all right. I mean, he's better than I am, but he doesn't have that sort of crowd. The crowd don't really get behind him as much as they do someone like Dirk or Joe Cullen, or some of the Premier League entrants like Michael Smith or Peter Wright or anyone like that. So I feel like that's probably a big reason why he's not in. And also, he did win the UK Open, which is one of the biggest tournaments of the year, but it was right sort of as the last Premier League was going on. It was a really, really long time ago. Despite being in 2022, it was a long time ago. And the last player who did not make it into the Premier League this year, the one that I'm the most surprised at as well, is Luke Humphries. World number 5. I had a look through earlier to try and do some fact checking to see if there was ever a world number 5 who didn't make the Premier League. I found one person in the history of the Premier League since 2005 that wasn't in the Premier League as world number 5. There might be a couple more, but James Wade was the only other person I could find. And yeah, over the course of the last year, he got to the semis of the Grand Slam. He got to the quarters of the European Championships. He won a Players' Championship event, and the biggest thing that he did this year, of course, was he won 4 European Tour events, which is quite a big deal. He also had an average over the whole of 2022 of 97.33, which is exceptionally high. Even so much higher than anyone else we just mentioned, and probably a lot higher than a lot of the people in the Premier League this year. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as to who you think the Premier League lineup should have been, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. But as far as the people who I believe should have gone in there, I think it should have been obviously the top 4. Can't argue with the top 4. We've got Michael Smith, Peter Wright, Michael van Gerwen, and Gerwen Price, all deserving of Premier League spots. From there, I probably would have put Luke Humphries in, or I definitely would have put Luke Humphries in. Rob Cross was a bit of a 50-50 for me. Johnny Clayton is, I think, kind of fair. I think like he's a good player. I'd have liked to see Danny Noppert in there as well, but again, you've got to have that. You've got to have something. There's something Danny Noppert is missing, and he needs to find it. And yeah, I think maybe Joe Cullen, Van den Bergh was a good shout. Dirk, potentially a good shout. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What would be your Premier League lineup for this year? Thanks for watching today's video. If you did enjoy it, leave a like on it. It helps the video out so much more than you could ever imagine. And subscribe if you're brand new. We're nearly at, what we at? We're at 52,000. We're on the road to 100,000, only 48,000 to go. That's a big number. Hopefully we hit it one day. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.